Consideration of items for future meetings. All right.
At the November board meeting, we do provide the board will see staffing projections. These are just projections, and they are revised based on the staffing enrollment numbers we receive in January. So you will receive that report. We also do provide the class size report again, so we'll make sure that's included in the enrollment and staffing projections as well as current class sizes, so that the board, I'm sure, will want to see the information Mr. Monty presented to the board. So I will make sure that's in the November staffing projection report. In September, when we did the update on enrollment, the current enrollment numbers show that we are overstaffed roughly by a teacher to a teacher and a half based on enrollment projections and what we staffed at and what we're currently at. So it just may be that when they were doing assigning staff to sections, but I can look at that with Miss Augustine and Kylie Lindquist, who handled the staffing.
Can we also get the IASB or the fund balance recommendation? I feel like I've read a couple of different numbers, and maybe they've changed over time, especially with financial uncertainty, and maybe our auditors have a suggested number as opposed to IASB.
Okay.
I think there's an Illinois state code also that comes from, and I don't know that we're articulating that correctly. My understanding was the recommendation through the state was in addition to what you absolutely need to run for the year.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly, we don't have 22 million in addition to what we need to run for the year.
I'll let Kristen speak to that, but I think we can touch on it.
Sure, I can pull the, I can verify the recommendation, but I would also say that the 58% does include the 2.9 million that we have in reserves that we've set aside for the field acquisition. So that number is definitely lower when you take that out, because when we bonded for that we put that aside for a very specific purpose. So I feel like as we're having these discussions, that shouldn't be included in that conversation. But I will pull that and verify the number.
So probably one thing, future discussions, or even maybe after our retreat, we had the discussion on class size several years ago, and then we also had the discussion on class size for freshmen, because the research showed that prediction of graduation was how well you did freshman year. And many of the freshman classes stay very close, or they try to be very close to the 20. So
To be accurate, all four levels of classes now in core classes are at 25 with a maximum of 27.
Okay.
So that's probably where this lab course is pushing near the 26 or 27 and being at max capacity. Whether a transfer was added into the quarter, I could check with Beth on, but the board, yeah, over the last 5 years, the board has worked every year to add another grade. So sophomore core classes, math, science, English, junior core classes.
So we can look at those STEM, because 5 years ago, STEM wasn't as prominent. So we could take another look at science.
Yeah, it was, the number in science was supposed to be over 25, but sometimes there's not a clean break. So if you add a section, sometimes that goes to 12.
Right.
And so sometimes it was easier to maybe do the master schedule with a class of 27 or 26 instead of going two classes of 13, or one of 13 and one of 14. But I will make sure that's included in the staffing projections and enrollment projections.
Ready for a resolution?
Yep, resolution.
The Board of Education, Township High School, District 208, Cook County, Illinois, enters closed session for the purpose of considering appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, student discipline, purchase, sale, or lease of real property, probable, imminent, or pending litigation, collective negotiations, and school safety.
Wait a second.
Second.
Mr. Jacobs had the second.
Mr. Durkin?
Yes.
Ms. Ruska?
Yes.
Ms.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.